Well, I'd rather write a poem. I seem to be able to attempt that kind of thing lately. It's my goodbye to Wales. And to both my dogs. Specifically, it's my goodbye to Godric Graig, which I haven't been back to for nearly 6 years anyway. It's only 39 miles away, but not really accessible by bus. I'd have to have a car. I remember the stars, among other things. It was beautiful 24/7. I used to take Flossie for her bedtime walk. Quite a long one, usually. And then before going in, we would stand in the field opposite where we lived. And Flossie would nose around and do her thing. And of course there was no artificial lighting. So I could see all the stars. Just trillions and trillions and trillions, like you get used to not seeing when you live in a place with a lot of artificial light. And I hadn't seen it like that since I was a child. Just like... Well, I went to Waitomo Cave in New Zealand, and it has glowworms on the roof of the cave, and I likened that to a star-speckled sky. And what the stars did was they kind of silvered the mountain. I would look at the mountain and it would be silver from the starlight. Another thing I used to do, I didn't even have to be outside. I could sit in my settee, which was quite a distance from the window, but the mountain filled the window, a big, big picture window, and the mountain filled it, except for a strip at the top. And I would watch the mountain coming up over it. The moon coming up over the mountain. I don't know why I'm thinking specifically of nighttime. It was paradise, really. I could see mountains, I could see every window had a view onto the mountains. Every window. And there weren't permanent waterfalls, but when it rained, I only had to look out of my window to see waterfalls. Or walk up the lane to a salmon leap. I really, really thought I'd landed in heaven. And it was a nice little home as well. There was nothing wrong with the home itself. It suited me down to the ground. And Flossie too is absolutely perfect for a dog, perfect. I mean, before breakfast we would go and walk for an hour or more around the fields. And sometimes down to the river, and I had thought about trying to bury her there, but it wasn't practicable. I had intended to die there, of course, when I moved there. Anyway, that was Godric Graig. I have an equal love for Ceredigion. I've been most disparaging, of course, about the way certain things are conducted here. But I think I have a right to be. I do have a long criminal record of things I never did. and as I said in another video, for which I was never even charged. But it's on record. That is enough to make one bitter. Especially someone who has a thing about injustice, as I have. However, Ceredigion is a most beautiful county. I have a special love for, pretty much the whole of the coastline, I suppose. Shramanislas, Borth, Aberystwyth, Aberyron, Newquay, and further on to Llanrynnog. Don't love Cardigan quite as much as I did when I got here, because it's not as nice as when I got here. And I didn't get to it very much anyway. It wasn't one of my most frequently visited places. Whereas both Aberystwyth, Aberyron, and Kynewith, Newquay all have numerous memories for me. And every single one of them, with Flossie, was a happy memory. Not quite so much with Danny, because I've been ill since a month after I got him. Really ill. And I've done my best, and for the first year or so, I think I did pretty well, considering how bad I was feeling. And I have happy memories, and I know he was happy too. And although there is no longer anyone here I could call a close friend, there are people I will miss. And little routines that I will miss. Flossie and I had our routines, and Danny and I had our routines. Not quite the same. I didn't ever want them to be quite the same. I probably won't upload the video I made about Rainbow Bridge, because I couldn't stop crying while I was making it. And here I am, conflicted again and contradicting myself again. While I may not believe in heaven or hell, I desperately want to believe in Rainbow Bridge. I do not want to leave my Flossie behind, buried in Borth. I want to join her on Rainbow Bridge. And I want to wait there until the day comes, perhaps a decade from now. Perhaps more. I want to wait there for Danny. And pray to whatever gods there may be that Danny finds the perfect home, and that they will have patience with him, and they will need it. He's not aggressive, he's not violent, he wouldn't hurt a fly, except, as I've said, in self-defense. And even then I don't think he would bite a human. He will only defend himself against other dogs. Nonetheless, he does require a great deal of patience. I read a description of a Labrador Collie cross just the other day. They call it a Borodor, apparently, and I thought that is Danny to a T. He is full of bounce and vigour and vim and energy, and he also hates to be alone. Severe separation anxiety. He requires somebody with a lot of patience, a lot of love to give, a lot of time to give, and a lot of energy to give. Someone who will appreciate him for his finer points, such as his affectionate nature, just the joy of watching him run and putting his head on their knee, snuggling up. I desperately want him to have the perfect person or people, but I also desperately want to see him again. On his rainbow bridge, and I hope it exists. Ode to Wales, ode to my dogs.